The Mansion Murder Mystery, Caroline and Victor's Deadly Discovery. It was supposed to be just another quiet evening. The rain pelted the windows of the Ashwood Manor like it had a score to settle. Perched at the edge of a fog-choked cliff in Devonshire, the mansion had once been the seat of parties, laughter, and political power. But tonight, it stood as a brooding silhouette against the lightning-split sky, cold, secretive, and waiting. Victor Langston, a seasoned detective with a reputation for seeing beyond what others missed, adjusted his coat collar as he stepped out of his car. He was greeted by the butler, an aged man with sunken eyes and a voice as hollow as the corridors of the estate. "Right this way, sir. Miss Caroline has been expecting you." Caroline Davenport was not the type to be easily rattled. A criminology professor at Oxford with sharp intellect and colder instincts, she had called Victor not because she feared what she found, but because she suspected the truth was worse. A body had been discovered in the manor's sealed library. The door had been locked from the inside. The key was still in the lock. The windows were bolted shut from within. No sign of forced entry. And yet there he was, Mr. Harrison Bellamy, lifeless on the Persian rug, eyes wide open, mouth slightly ajar, as though whispering a final word the world wasn't allowed to hear. Victor knelt by the body. No blood, no wounds, no signs of poison. Nothing except a single white queen chess piece clutched tightly in Bellamy's right hand. "A message," Caroline murmured, arms crossed. "A deliberate one." Victor nodded, his eyes scanning the room. It was meticulously arranged. Books in alphabetical order, fireplace cold, decanter of brandy untouched. But something felt wrong, off. Like a symphony played with one wrong note that ruined the entire piece. "Who found him?" Victor asked. "The maid, Lena. Around 7:15 p.m. She was bringing his tea." Victor turned toward the butler. "Where is Lena now?" "In the staff quarters, sir." "She's shaken, but coherent." The questioning began. Lena described Bellamy as agitated lately, receiving odd letters with no return address. He would burn them immediately, she said, but always after muttering something about unfinished business. Victor and Caroline combed through the library once more. Hidden behind the third shelf, just behind a dusty volume on English aristocracy, Victor discovered a torn piece of parchment. It read, "The past always finds a way to breathe." Caroline narrowed her eyes. This isn't just a random murder. It's theatrical, a puzzle. And so it began. As the storm raged on outside, Victor and Caroline interrogated the remaining members of the house. There was Thomas Bellamy, the younger brother of the victim, a banker with gambling debts and a motive as old as Cain and Abel. Then there was Isadora Bellamy, the glamorous yet secretive wife, whose alibi, a solo walk in the garden during a lightning storm, was as weak as her faux grief. But it was the old gardener, Mr. Alcott, who offered the most curious insight. "I once saw Mr. Bellamy digging near the West Wing," he rasped. "Late at night. Said he was looking for the source of it all. I thought he was drunk." The next morning, Victor and Caroline explored the West Wing. There, under a loose floorboard in an abandoned study, they unearthed a tin box. Inside, a collection of old letters bound by a crimson ribbon. Each letter was from the same person, Margaret Hawthorne, dated nearly 20 years ago. The tone shifted from romantic to desperate to accusing. "You promised you would leave her. You owe me your soul for what you've done. One day I will collect." Caroline's breath caught. Margaret Hawthorne died in a fire. That scandal, it ruined half the family. "And yet," Victor said, holding up a final letter, "this one is dated last week." The plot twisted like ivy on an old stone wall. Someone had been impersonating Margaret, and Bellamy knew it. He had tried to find the truth, tried to bury it again when it got too close. But someone got to him first. The White Queen, the letters, the sealed room, all pieces of a game, played long before that stormy night. The final breakthrough came when Caroline studied the chess piece again. A tiny inscription at the base, D5. A chess move? No, a reference to the manor's blueprints. Room D5 was the observatory, now used for storage. Inside, behind a false panel, they found the final clue, a hidden passage that led directly to the library. "It was never a locked room mystery," Caroline whispered. "It was an illusion." And standing at the other end of the tunnel, with dust on his shoes and guilt in his eyes, was Thomas. He confessed everything. Harrison Bellamy had planned to expose him. Embezzlement, blackmail, and the most damning of all, the decades-old affair that led to Margaret's death. Bellamy had kept all the evidence. When Thomas found out, he used the hidden passage, slipped in unnoticed, and induced a heart attack with a fast-acting nerve agent on the queen piece itself. No marks, no wounds, just death, elegant, untraceable. And yet, not undetected. Victor stood over the handcuffed Thomas as he was escorted out. Games, Victor muttered. They always have two sides. You just played yours too late. The rain had stopped. The sun cut through the clouds, illuminating Ashwood Manor like a silent witness to all that had transpired. And in that moment of light, Caroline turned to Victor and said, "Next time we're invited to a manor, let's decline." He chuckled. "Only if you promise to stop solving the puzzles before I do." And with that, they stepped into the morning mist, two minds forever drawn to the shadows and the truths that hide within them.